The following podcast can contain mature language and spoilers for the main scenario quest and other elements of Final Fantasy XIV. You have been warned. From the many realms of Atheris to the distant reaches of the 13th via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 38 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, and no, this is not a Final Fantasy XVI special episode, but I can't help playing this freaking music for the intro today. I'm sorry, Masayoshi Soken is burning buildings right now with this music. Are you kidding me? My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and yes, I have completed Final Fantasy XVI, but more importantly, I've been hearing that lots of people are complaining about the new Savage mount. Personally, I think they axolotl from devs. With me is one of my amazing co-hosts. The other one is apparently at a Ren fair. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks. Mm-hmm. But I did hear that
We're missing our jester.
We are missing our jester. But we do have a suitable replacement all the same. Of course, with us is our resident Chaos Gremlin and Cat Mom of Two, who recently took it to the next level and just can't stop creating VTuber avatars for herself. And hi, Megan.
Hi. Actually, now I'm out of the free trial of live 2D cubism, so I'm gonna be done making super complex models for a while, unless I decide to re-up. But yeah, it's like one of those programs that like charge you monthly, but they have like a 40-day free trial, so I used that to make four full VTuber avatars, and I learned a lot, and it's a lot of fun, and it's something I enjoy doing. So I definitely want to. I don't know. Maybe I'll look into like doing that for other people, but I don't know how to get into that. But yeah, I made one for Ward too. We stream together sometimes. It's like Cat Mom and Dad.
Indeed. And speaking of which, with us today, filling in for Brandon, is someone who I learned recently really likes No Man's Sky, and I admire his taste in games. Hi, Ward.
Howdy. Yeah, I am the resident cat dad, to pair with the cat mom. And yes, I will say that in addition to playing a whole bunch of No Man's Sky, I have been learning my numbers in P9S, learning to count. Because there's a lot of counting you need to do in that Savage fight. I can now successfully count up to 8. Don't ask me to count to 9. Eight's about my limit.
I have only been running the last boss of all of that on normal, because you gotta, get your sword token each week for the blade and such. So I'm trying to remember what P9 was now. What boss was that?
That's the one
like
that
soul eating boss.
The one that like changes personalities, not really forms that much.
Right. Yep. Okay. Yes.
The one with the hyper realistic feet.
Yes.
There's got to be one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, the fire and ice one. That's how I remember it. Because there's a lot of fire and ice stuff going on. Okay, so Savage, like in a nutshell, what's the difference between Savage and normal? You just said, is there lightning on normal? I can tell you there is not lightning on normal.
Yeah, there's a few more things added into the mix, and there's a lot more different like combinations. There's a chimera that's both the martialist and the spellcaster. There's a beast form.
There's a lot of like everybody has to do this right or we all die.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of mechanics like that. And whether it's like you all have to be in the exact right spot or you have to know what you have to do if you get this number over your head. Like I literally have a handwritten note of like what to do for each number.
Depending on which number you are.
Yeah. Like I have
what thing you have to do at what point in the fight.
A little diagram drawn with little stick figures and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty intense, and it took us. We just cleared it last week, but it was only with half our raid and half pug because we've been having some trouble getting everybody together at the right time. But
yeah, well, that's true. But it's also just like really hard fight.
It is. Yeah. And now we're tonight we're going to be doing, because we didn't do Thursday raiding because
One of our tanks missed it.
One of our tanks was missing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the cool thing that I like about this group is that we still like do stuff together even if we can't raid. So we were playing this game called Human Fall Flat.
Yep, that's the one.
Where you're like these little Gumby people and you're trying to like solve physics puzzles and you can like grab onto each other and like throw each other around and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been loving about
recently. I think the last time you were on the show, Megan, you were talking about the one where you're all a bunch of cats that are tied together.
Yep, that was Pico Park.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That one. Well, that was back when we weren't raiding regularly because we were in between tiers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we were literally just like going around looking for any game that allows 8 co-op players. And so that was one that we found, and then we found...
Yeah, it's hard to filter that on Steam. So there doesn't seem to be a lot.
Most co-op games are like 4 players max.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Discord, I guess Discord made their activities thing free, so like there's a lot of...
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of those too. Those and then like a bunch of the Jackbox games.
Yeah, what's the telephone one called?
Oh,
Gartic Phone?
Gartic Phone?
Gartic Phone.
Yeah, Gartic Phone is great. Yes.
I love that one, and especially like anything that lets me draw. I'm all about it. But yeah,
it's because you're like cheating with your art skills.
But like, I'm not the one that benefits, you know. Like,
well, now, mind you, I'm sure that when it comes to Gartic Phone, I'm sure that when things just devolve into absolute debauchery, that Megan draws a very nice defined penis.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Absolutely. Uh-huh. I may have outed myself as as an artiste of culture.
Someone who actually, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of games we've been playing. Like whenever we're not able to actually play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like we've been playing Terraria with like just 2 of the raid team members. Mm-hmm. A lot. We have like a world going. And then we all tried to play Don't Starve together, but that didn't go well.
And we all starved.
So
that was the problem.
So you didn't follow the rule of the game. You had one job in that game.
We're not able to do it.
Yeah, that did not go very well. But yeah, Human Fall Flat was really fun and very funny because like you can betray each other so easily in that game.
Well, it's also just like it's supreme ragdoll of like it's like you have the least amount of controls ever.
And it's like you right click to move to grab on with your right hand, you left click to grab on with your left hand, and you use the like camera to like where your arms are directed, and so it's just like there's just so much of like accidentally grabbing each other's asses and dragging them around and being like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, because like grabbing is pretty much just like you turn your hand into Velcro.
Yeah.
And so it just sticks to the first thing. If it's like the thing you're trying to grab onto, or if it's somebody's leg or somebody's head, and then now suddenly you're ragdolling, but then grabbing onto somebody's head.
Well, yeah, like trying to swing each other into other platforms and stuff. And like, it's very funny.
That's a ton of fun, yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, we have been playing some Final Fantasy as well.
We have.
You've probably played more Final Fantasy than I have. I mean, to be fair, now I've played a fair bit in the last few days, but for those wondering why we didn't have an episode 2 weeks ago, I think I did warn that there may be a month gap between episodes. But this past month, there was just what I would I'm stealing from a content creator group known as Easy Allies when they defined the month of June. A cataclysmic wave of content. Imagine buying and playing not 1, not 2, but 3 AAA titles in a single month. I didn't beat all 3, but I beat 2 out of 3, which is not bad. I downloaded Street Fighter VI, which you may think, what? Street Fighter VI? I will say the single-player World Tour mode on Street Fighter VI is absolutely great and phenomenal, and even if you don't think you are a Street Fighter player, you will have a hell of a lot of time playing just that mode. Like, ignore the versus players stuff, it's fine. Just play the World Tour thing in Street Fighter VI, and I will guarantee you will still get your money's worth. That's the one I actually didn't beat. That I still have to, the World Tour thing. I still have to play that. But I got Diablo 4, beat that.
Oh yeah.
That was, man. Okay, so my spoiler free, for those who care, spoiler free review of Diablo 4 is. It's a good solid Diablo game. I mean, it doesn't do anything really outside of the box, so you kind of know what you're getting. But I'm someone who likes story, and I gotta say, when it comes to story for this game, I feel like I got really blue-balled at the end.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, I always feel like one of the things about Diablo is that I feel like they kind of skimp out on the story because it's meant to be replayable.
Yeah.
It's like you're meant to go through the acts over and over.
Well, and also they want to hold some threads for expansion content down the line and stuff like that. So,
I remember thinking the only Diablo game I played a whole lot of was 3. Was the last
D3,
one?
yeah.
Yeah. And I remember thinking I was enjoying the story, and then when it got to the end, I was like, This is lame. Well, I was also just like, is nobody going to acknowledge the fact that like Leah fucking died, like this character that we've been following for the entire game, and then she just like gets turned into Diablo, and then like we destroy Diablo, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're not like releasing Leah or anything. I guess Leah's just dead. And like, is anybody going to even be like, sorry, Leah, or like, oh, that was sad that we had to do that? Like, no, we're just not even going to acknowledge it. I'm like, what?
Okay, question. Do you two care about spoilers for Diablo 4 at all?
No.
I feel like story is like is very down on the ladder for the reasons why most people want to play Diablo. It's like you don't play Diablo for like the action RPG and the grind and all the Skinner box things that you could tie into that.
Fair. I guess I'm just wired differently. Okay, spoiler alert for Diablo 4. So if you haven't played this game and you don't want to know about the story, or you're still playing it,
if I was ever planning to play it, then I would care. But I'm not at all.
So if you care about the ending to this, like skip ahead literally about 2 minutes in the show. It's a Diablo game where you don't even fight Diablo or see Diablo at all.
Oh, what?
Like
it's like the one thread that's in
it's set in the Diablo universe, but you hear Diablo's name mentioned once or twice, but you never fight Diablo at all.
That's what I'm trying to remember. I feel like, oh god, this is the part where I have to date myself a bit because I don't think I ever played Diablo 2 without playing the expansion.
You fought Diablo in Diablo 2.
Okay,
you fought Diablo in every Diablo game except this one, and I was like, I kept on waiting for the Diablo connection. I'm like, okay, like they did. Here's the thing: Diablo wasn't even really teased at the ending of this game. That's like, oh, and now Diablo's going to come. No, there wasn't even that. So I'm like, I don't know. I have issues. I have some issues with the antagonists and some of their motives. They felt a little hollow, but you made a good point, Ward, as far as like people don't necessarily play for the story and stuff like that. I'm just one of those weird people who does. But
I mean, that's the thing. Is like I'm hoping that the gameplay loop at least was entertaining. Like,
the gameplay was fucking great.
The crank up the difficulty as much as you want to, and build your characters the way you want to, and you're still able to feel that satisfying ping when you see a legendary drop and you hear that sound.
Yeah, and I had a great build going on. I was drowning people in necromantic darkness and unleashing hordes of skeletons upon them. Life was good.
Yeah, see, Word is a min-maxing goblin of like figuring out the absolute best build and then just demolishing.
There's forums for that, man. Come on, I feel like you're handicapping yourself. It's like, oh, I play World of Warcraft, but I've never read Icy Veins. It's like, oh, come on. I mean, that's what this stuff is there for.
I think that if you can't play a game well with what's in the game, then it's not a very well designed game.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I am absolutely the first to be like, excuse me, I gotta go Google something. if you watch me stream, that happens like a few times, like every playthrough of something. Like, oh god, right now I'm trying to play through all the like new Resident Evil games. So I'm starting with 7, and then I'm gonna go play through 8. And I'm stuck on a boss right now. And
in 7,
in 7, yes,
which
it's
one?
It's the chainsaw fight with Daddy, and I get him down to the point where he can break down the pillar, and then I cannot seem to find the right timing to block his chainsaw attacks to get him. And like, I've spent hours on this, and I'm like, this is not good content. I don't know what to do. So I've been like,
I've watched that on Let's Plays, but I couldn't give you any advice gameplay-wise.
It's like, I keep Googling, it's like, block it at the last possible second, and I'm like, I try, and like, and it never works.
You really wouldn't like Final Fantasy XVI.
Well, I'm not good. I'm not good at the whole like block and parry thing. Yeah, like,
oh man,
everybody's like, "Oh, you should play Dark Souls." I'm like, "No, I'll eat shit."
Oh,
but yeah, I started playing. I beat a game called Detention, which I highly recommend. But it was very emotional at the end, and I wouldn't really call it very scary. But it's also very interesting from a historical standpoint. It's about a period in Taiwanese history when they were extremely paranoid about communism, and people were, ratting each other out. There was a lot of paranoia and people getting executed and stuff. And so
yikes.
Using that as the backdrop for like a supernatural horror game, also weaving in a bunch of like folklore elements from Taiwanese culture. It's I don't know, a valuable experience. It will be spooky. It will probably make you sad, but it's very valuable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm playing a game called Soma, which is by the guys that did Amnesia.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
And unfortunately, I started playing it and I had food poisoning.
Oof.
So
yeah, you got like an hour into that game. Like, I gotta stop.
And I had to stop. And I did not feel better after I stopped. So I know that it was not the game that did it to me. But that's some immersion, man.
I know too much about that game to really talk without giving away stuff. But I will simply say I think you will enjoy it.
Okay, I got to the point where I've been transported into I think it's a simulation. I think they're bombarding my brain with... They're like, we're going to bombard your brain with stimulus. And then I wake up in like a haunted space station. And I'm like... Or like under the water or something. I'm like, yeah, this is the copy of my brain. And I'm being bombarded. You're getting your precious data from my brain scan. But yeah, I literally spent like the first 20 minutes of the game just gremlining around the apartment, throwing coffee mugs. And I'm like... Don't let me pick up anything because I will pick up everything. And then I ended up before I left the apartment, I like put all the garbage in the garbage can and like put all the dishes in the sink.
Oh my god.
OCD much?
For your own sanity. Yeah.
I was just like, they were letting me do it. And I feel bad because I'm like, this Simon guy is a person. Also, the main character, Simon, he looks a lot like you when you were his age. And his friend that of course died tragically right before because this is a horror game looks a lot like me when I was that age. So I'm like, I'm feeling a little attacked right now. So yeah, I like found a picture of them like on his like corkboard and I was like, oh
boy.
oh dear.
It is a good game. It's a decent ride, and it has some interesting turns.
Yeah, I like this kind. This is like exactly the kind of horror game that I want. That is like
it's very
spooky,
atmospheric.
Very atmospheric, makes me figure things out, and like has the story that just kind of develops through mostly environmental storytelling. That was the thing that I really didn't like about Palmyra Orphanage. that I played, that was like the previous spooky game that I streamed. It was like they were doing really good with all this environmental storytelling and like finding notes and letters and stuff around. And I was like I pieced together exactly what was going on and like what was happening. And then the game spent like the last 10 minutes of literally just sitting my ass in a chair and playing out like weird cutscenes and explaining to me exactly what happened.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Gotta handhold you through the rest of it.
You were doing so good.
Oh man,
This sucks. And then they were literally like, do you want the good ending or the bad ending? And had me like pick between two doors. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is this?
I will say the game that reminds me of that I definitely need to go back and finish. I still haven't finished yet. Is Control. I would spend hours and hours and hours picking up like every single audio recording and like every single
that game. Like, you also have the force powers to like pick things up and throw them, and like don't give me that power because I will just
throw
smash things.
Everything.
Oh, the worst is when like sometimes there's stuff in the other stuff and you got to smash it because I will smash everything.
It's like, is there candy inside of this rock? What about this box?
Well, I'm the same way when I play Dead Space because I'm always really like I always want to like pin things to the wall. Like that is the most satisfying mechanic. So I'm always like, is that a rod? Is that a stick?
Okay.
Is that a pointy object?
My problem with Dead Space is like I just have to like clear every room of every possible object just to make sure that there's nothing hiding behind or under or around something else. I'm like, I'm gonna overturn every table just to make sure nothing's hiding.
Lord. Yeah, I'm really enjoying I'm also trying to play the remake of Dead Space, but I think I gotta like fiddle with the settings or whatever because it cannot run at the same time as VTube Studio. It's just like
it's a resource hog.
Yeah, AAA games, man.
Yeah,
that's why I'm over here in my indies. You know, like Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I've been. I need to eventually upgrade my gaming computer because my gaming computer is, it's got a few years on it. So like when it comes to AAA titles, I'm basically playing those on PS5 right now. Speaking of which, yes, I played Final Fantasy XIV. It is a solid game. Man, if I give a rating on this, then you see, I asked Zim's player. I asked her to predict what I would give on a scale of 1 out of 10 Final Fantasy XVI. She guessed a 7. She wasn't far off. I'm giving Final Fantasy XVI an 8. It was a good game. It has flaws. It does have some flaws, and there's some things about the game that I really, really wish were there that aren't. But the story is freaking great. The gameplay is phenomenal. The action gameplay is great. The story is great. The music is insane. There's little minor elements to like the game systems and stuff like that. It's like there's some things that are placed in the game that when you interact with them, you wonder, why are they even there? It's like, why am I will say the biggest example of this is the crafting and upgrading system for weapons doesn't even need to be there. They should just say your character levels up and gets stronger. It's like the whole weapon thing isn't that big a deal to me. I feel like with any Final Fantasy game, you have to give you some sort of like
there's always something
tree of mechanics that you have to learn new recipes for and spend a lot of time.
Put the materia in your dress sphere or your freaking your cards.
I feel like if that was missing, people would be like, well, where's the depth to this?
So there is stuff with like the abilities that you have access to that are tied to different summons, and you can have different like ability layouts. And because it's an action game, kind of like Devil May Cry and stuff like that, it's like there's different skills that you can set up to your buttons and such. And playing around with that and trying to find a build and the playstyle that works for you is great, and it gets better as you acquire new stuff and you find kind of like the combination that fits your playstyle. Like the way I was beating up bosses and stuff in Final Fantasy XVI, I've looked at like playthroughs of other people playing and fighting these bosses. I fight shit in a completely different way than other people do, using combos and abilities that no one else does. And yet for me, the way I'm doing it feels like I feel like I'm cheating the game. I feel like I'm kind of like, I see a whole lot of people getting up in bosses in each of these bosses' faces, and, close combat, precision parries and blocks and counters and stuff like that. Me, I'm pew-pewing from a range to break their will and stagger them. And then when they're down, I pretty much press every ultimate skill button in the frickin' on my hotbar and just light the sucker up. And if I do that 2 or 3 times, I win. and so while I'm shooting at a range, instead of blocking, I'm just doing a whole lot of dodging. So it's like, how you had the whole like block the attack at the last minute with a chainsaw. Well, for me, it's block this meteor at the dodge this meteor crash at the very last second. And so precision dodges like also increase my attack power, and it's fun. The gameplay, story, and music is fun. There's just a few things that's like there's just a few things that if they had put a little more love into it, man, that game would be a 10. But it's a solid 8.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good to hear, and I'm glad to hear that there's a lot of customization and personalizing you can do for the combat style. So I think that's one of the things that gets me like turned off of some games, where it's like there's only one like right way of doing it.
Oh, there definitely is
some other token ways of building your character, but it's just not as efficient.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, the past month has mostly been playing other games. I got back into Final Fantasy XIV in the past few days. The Make It Rain campaign has started. I have been gaining ludicrous amounts of MGP. I am now at 3.3 million MGP. And people might be like, why do you have so many? Because 3.3 is not 4, and I need 4 million MGP to get the airship.
Yeah. There's just they always throw out one new reward that's just like gods and insane amounts of MGP for whatever people think is like enough. Yeah. Like, oh, well, the Fenrir is only 1 million. I'm like, okay, well then we're gonna come up with another map that's gonna be 2 million. Another map is gonna be 3 million. Another map is gonna be 4. I'm like, oh god.
Yep, it gets crazier and crazier. So 4 million MGP is the airship. My goal is to try to get that within the next couple of weeks, because you do get a lot of MGP. Because not only is the 50% bonus MGP just from like the rewards, but your challenge log rewards also get that bonus. So
right,
things
I need to remember. I think it also applies to all the ones from was it Lord of Vermilion?
Yes, and if you play 5 games of Lord of Vermilion and just sit there and do nothing, and go read a book or check out YouTube or something, grab a drink and stuff, and let your guys loose, that is an easy like 35k MGP.
Yeah, it's a huge chunk.
Yeah, I've never really gotten into that one. I just do chocobo racing.
Yeah, chocobo racing's fun.
There's so many minions you can collect. It's like it's a way to show them off. Although it's always hilarious to me that all the ones you get from the Manderville questline are actually like good. It's just bizarre that all those Manderville minions actually have some use in Lord of Vermilion.
Oh man.
I did a game today of Lord of Vermilion where I attacked a crystal with 12 campfires. And
excellent.
They were able to heal each other a lot.
Oh my god.
Because their campfire's ability is like to heal their allies and stuff. It was kind of funny. Speaking of chocobo racing, though, I got an achievement for training a chocobo to be a rating 285 or higher.
Nice.
So that's like a Gen 9 chocobo with stats that are about as high as you can make it. And I did several of the chocobo challenges. In fact, I have completed every chocobo challenge except for the very final one, which is called Ultimatum. Beating Ultimatum gets you 50,000 MGP.
Nice.
I have only... I beat like challenge 10 through 14, and those gave you like 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000. So I got like 250,000 MGP just from doing Chocobo challenges earlier today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the challenges, the first time you beat the challenges, you get an insane amount of MGP. So if you're looking for MGP, that's one way to do it. But yeah, had a lot of fun with that and just kind of getting back into the groove of things. I've got my casino redecorated and ready to reopen in a few weeks. I had it closed up for several weeks because work has been absolutely crazy. Outside of gaming and stuff, I just put in an almost 60-hour work week last week.
Oof!
Wow.
Yeah, that was rough, and I'm putting in about 50 this week.
Oh my gosh.
And probably 50 the next week because it's that time of year in the tourist trap of north central Ohio, right on the shores of Lake Erie. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where did you get that for back to school stuff?
Oh yeah. So I'm working at the university, so all the university holidays and seasons, you hit the nail on the head right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no anime boob season, so.
Your work is consistent year round. Yes, there's never a shortage of need.
I've mostly been taking care of Bonbon and playing with her.
You've been literally a cat mom.
Yeah. Bonbon's had a few different health issues, so
she's a kitten we found off the street, so
yes.
It makes sense that she has some health issues.
She's literally our trash goblin. but she had an infection in her paw, so we had to be giving her medicine every day. She had to wear a cone. She was really not happy about that. We were also keeping her in this little pen so she couldn't get into trouble. Now she's finally back in the bathroom, which is bigger, but she's still causing a lot of trouble. But hilariously, says we took her cone off of her head. We left the cone in the bathroom, just off to the side, with the kitten supplies, and then occasionally we'll open the door and she has somehow gotten the cone back on her head.
I think she's just throwing herself around so much that things are getting knocked off the shelves.
Yeah. And
so she somehow knocked the cone off the shelf onto the floor and then stuck the cone back on her head again.
I know how she does it. She has this little crinkle toy, it's like a little crinkly, shiny bit of plastic that she likes to bat around. And she bats it through the cone and then dives after it. So she's literally diving into it. There's nothing funnier than opening the bathroom door to find her sitting on the toilet seat with the cone on her head. Just hey, what's up? What did you do?
It's just totally baffling the first time too. It's how'd you put that on?
Butterscotch is not happy with the kitten still.
They're not getting along yet.
Well, Bonbon wants to be friends so bad.
I think Butterscotch just hasn't come to terms with the fact she's no longer an only child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we let Bonbon out of the bathroom to play. And so I'll be playing with Bonbon on the bed, and Butterscotch will be sitting on the cat tree nearby and hissing every time that Bonbon runs towards her. But Bonbon is just friend, hello friend, let's be friends. And Butterscotch is absolutely not. Keep this peasant away from me.
It's as long as Bonbon is playing far enough away,
mm-hmm.
She's fine.
But yeah, but also Butterscotch has always just been an incredibly melodramatic cat. She hisses at everything. Mm. And so at first Bonbon was very she would get hissed at, she would immediately back off and crouch down and and hide. But now she's just gotten used to it, so she's still.
It's it's just Butterscotch hissing again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to grab her before she just jumps on Butterscotch. I'm no. You're gonna get bonked.
Yeah, just a very, very melodramatic cat. But yeah, mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they have not become friends yet. Not yet.
I really think it's gonna be, eventually once we can let Bonbon completely out of bathroom to just run around all the time, that it's gonna be, the annoying little sibling and the annoyed older sibling. And occasional begrudging affection.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Butterscotch is like, I'm just going to pretend that there's nothing in there.
Can you two believe that it is literally 3 weeks and change before you go to Las Vegas?
No.
Oh, boy.
Because with Finding Bonbon, we've just had like a world. We've been like, we're going to be prepping and we're going to be like getting ready. We're going to be also saving up all of our money. All of that has gone to vet bills. Where
yeah, we are also going to be planning some cosplays.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't think we even have like spare money for it. So
are you still going to be able to go?
Yeah, we're going to be able to go.
Well,
we're just
I mean, the benefit of paying for everything in advance is everything's already paid for.
True.
We're still going. We're just, we're not going to be buying as much merch. We're not going to be cosplaying.
All our figurine money, unfortunately, is gone. No doll. Was it?
No ball jointed
dolls are going to be coming back with us this time.
No 1/4 size Garaha statues, unfortunately.
Yeah, insane. But I did see a lot of the merch that's going to be given out to us with the goodie bags, and I'm definitely going to be using that Asm stone keychain, and like having one of those soulstone keychains is one of the things that I had wanted anyways. So like, oh well, I would have bought one if it was there, but now I'm gonna get it. There we go.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize there was an Asm soulstone keychain. Now I need this in my life.
I think it's coming in the.
That one's gonna be in the goodie bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. They'll probably sell.
Only goodie bag? Is it only a goodie bag item?
It might be. It might be.
Don't know. I haven't.
I'm sure I could find someone on Etsy who could do something.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's so many people that are selling. Was it resin?
Yeah.
Resin soulstones and like keychains.
And probably like better quality.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be plastic. I'm sure you could find some like actual glass ones out there.
Yeah, or like ones that light up, or ones that are very very nicely handcrafted. That's what you go to Etsy for.
Yep.
Or what Etsy should be for. Now apparently like freaking Amazon sellers are being like, yeah, these are handmade.
Ish.
Okay, guys.
Handmade with a 3D printer. What?
No, that counts, man. Selling your 3D prints on Etsy absolutely counts. Because oh my god, I've gotten so many like fun hand printed things off of Etsy. One of them was Ward's parents are really into Pokemon Go, so I got a 3D print of the gift box that you get rewards in Pokemon Go from.
Oh yeah.
And so I put the presents. They're like Christmas presents in the little like
box, yeah.
That was fun. But I was literally like, what? They like Pokemon Go. Search Etsy for Pokemon Go. I'm like, yes, perfect. So yeah, I think that also it's like people will come up with the models and the what do you call it? The thing that you print out, like the computer file. They'll handcraft that bit and then sell it. And
yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, yeah. And also there's like some assembling and gluing and sanding.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm sure that there's going to be like a bunch of stuff we're going to see both before and after. I am looking forward to a lot of the stuff that's going to be going on because I'm fairly certain we're actually going to have one of those extreme fights that we can actually play at the actual convention itself.
And we're going to suck at it.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. It's just imagine going into...
From what I've heard, there's like, for those things, there's really long lines for them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just like imagining waiting in line
to get my ass kicked.
40 minutes of the party finder or the duty finder queue, and then getting in there with 6 random people and a character that's not even yours, playing a job you have no idea how to play, and like, here we go.
Oh God, they don't even let us pick our jobs. Oh no. Oh God.
Hope you know how to play Paladin.
Fuck, I don't take it all.
You're gonna learn quick. I'm gonna tell you.
No, I'm not gonna. I don't learn. Unfortunately.
Oh man.
It's known about me.
We've learned to count. We've learned to count.
I just realized I have a good prediction question for the Fan Fest. As far as like things that are going to be seen there or not, you two are going to actually have to play an important role at Fan Fest because some of these questions may require some possible verifying or confirming by YouTube.
Oh boy.
Because there's definitely, I think they only show like the keynote during like the keynote, everyone gets to see, like
there's not
for
going to be
free
a lot
and stuff
broadcasted.
like that. But
Yeah,
I don't think
the
panel
concert is definitely not going to be broadcasted for sure.
I definitely want to go to the concert. And yeah, I have not been thinking about it. I've not been planning. I've not been preparing at all.
We've been dealing with a kitten.
I've been living kitten life.
Well, that's understandable.
There's a lot of stuff for us to prepare for, and I mean, this is also the time where we're kind of like winding down with the current expansion, where a lot of time people are trying to check off their bucket lists. I'm still trying to craft my bucket list of like all the things I want to make sure I get done before people stop doing Endwalker stuff.
True.
I still have not done a number of things. I haven't finished Omicron Tribals. I still need to start Lawford Tribals. I have... watch me set up this segue. I have not done Tataro's Grand Endeavor yet.
Ooh.
Well, we just did that today.
Just finished, yes.
I was like, I need something to be able to talk about, and I still haven't unlocked the new island stuff because
you are fine to talk about Tataro's Grand Endeavor. I don't care personally too much about spoilers and stuff because I still like experiencing the stuff anyway. So I will simply start off by asking you as far as side quest stuff goes, how fun was it?
It's really good if you're really into the side quest material, I would say. It's literally like, hey, you remember all those raids we did and all those trials and all that side content? Let's go check in with those guys and see what they're up to. And like, if that is something that you want to do, I highly recommend it. My favorite absolutely being going to hang out with the auspices again. And seeing what they're up to. And also getting to see them interact with Shitaru again was great. And also, I just enjoyed their storyline. It was funny, but it was also like, oh yeah, I like these guys, these ancient derps and their weird ways, but also like they take themselves very seriously, but also they're hilarious.
Extremely silly. Extremely silly.
And also, you get to hear all the cool ass music that came with all of these trials and raids and stuff that you haven't heard in a while, which was especially cool on the last one because you do get to jam out again to Big Fat Tacos.
Oh yeah.
I've been told that one has some emotions. The Whirlit can be an emotional one.
It is an emotional ride. I will tell you.
I feel like Whirlit is just like the feels trip, like from start to finish. You know, like let's have a story about sad orphans sacrificing themselves in a misguided attempt to please their father figure.
Of war,
yeah. And like
it's a Gundam story, man. It's a Gundam story.
Basically, it's Aura Gundam.
It's amazing though. That's why I was like, give me more of that.
It's
I was
good.
glad to have just a little bit more.
And I was really glad to see a sort of I don't know, not really an end cap, but like to see like, oh, this is how things have settled in. And it also was nice to be like, oh yeah, this is why Gaius hasn't gone back to Garlemald. Like I feel like he feels more responsible for Whirlit, or like that he has more, I don't know. It's like he was like, I'm going to save the Empire by defeating the Ascians and revealing that they're evil and manipulating the Emperor. But then he's like, oh, I kind of really fucked up in Whirlit.
It's like, I kind of had like a whole cadre of people that looked up to me as like a father figure, and maybe I should actually, take care of my responsibilities.
Yeah. He's like, oh, there's my homeland, but I also, I did colonialism and, oops, and maybe I should stick around here and help set things right, and also like look after my one remaining person who is my child.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
also,
it's good to just check in with all those things one more time. And the only thing I'm going to spoil is that there actually is a small amount of like actual gameplay.
Apparently.
Oh.
There is some gameplay when you're going back to the world, the quest chain, and so you do get to see some of that stuff and actually get to play a little bit again.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is that where the Big Fat Tacos music comes in?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think definitely one of my favorite solo duties is like all the different ones you could play as a G Gun. Was it? It's not G Gundam.
Mark
is it?
Something. No,
G Warrior.
G Warrior,
G Warrior,
G Mark.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you get to play as a G Warrior is like some of the most fun I've ever had in a solo duty.
Yeah. I really like that stuff too. And even though it is extremely truncated, it was still very fun.
Oh yeah. Just seeing all the
Just get to be back in the cockpit again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's that in and of itself is worth the quest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would almost say, kind of thinking back on the G Warrior thing, I would say that the G Warrior gameplay, not 1-to-1, but that's kind of, there's that kind of planted the seed for some of the big ass icon versus icon fights in Final Fantasy XVI. Because like, when summons are fighting summons in Final Fantasy 16, the gameplay elements and stuff, it's very different from the standard combat when you're, like jumping around and swinging a sword and casting spells. And the gameplay just has a very different feel to it. And some of it felt, it kind of reminded me of G Warrior stuff, come to think of it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I really want to play 16, but we especially don't have an extra $500
Oh,
for
right.
Have the power of the PlayStation $500.
Yeah.
I give it a year, it'll
That's
be
what-
out on PC.
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that there will be some kaiju fights somewhere along there.
Well, that was like the big selling point. I guess you
That-
haven't really been watching the
Okay.
ads for it.
No,
I will
haven't.
say this is non-spoilery, but by saying this, the kaiju fights, as insane as I thought, I had set a certain bar for how insane these kaiju fights were going to be. It went miles above the bar that I had set.
Ooh.
It is anime as fuck.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
As well it should be.
It will be when you play it. There's going to be whenever you do play the game, there will be this one icon kaiju fight that when you play it, you'll be like, Ro, we need to talk about this fight. It was pretty good. That was one of the highs. One of the highs of the game was like those fights were definitely they were done so well.
Oh yeah, I know. I definitely know that whenever it comes out for PC, we're definitely going to be buying at least one copy.
Mm-hmm. Wait, we do a lot of like, okay, it's on your computer now. All right, now we'll shift it over. Or a lot of like library sharing.
We do share Steam libraries, and so that's why I haven't felt the need to buy my own copy of Nier Automata.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's another one I've been thinking about playing on stream. But
that one's fun too. It's story wise, it's dark and gloomy as fuck, but gameplay is great.
Yeah. And also anime as fuck, boy.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that I still need to go back and delve into again in Final Fantasy, but there's only so many different types of like gameplay that are offered in like the combat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I get a little bit bored out of doing extremes or doing raids, then while things like the deep dungeon are going to be like a different format, it's still more or less like feels similar enough. And so that's why I'll jump off to a different game. So that's why I was playing No Man's Sky for a bit, because it's a lot less directed. It's just kind of like exploration. That's it.
Question for you, Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Being that you love No Man's Sky as much, have you been paying attention at all to Starfield, and do you have any thoughts about it?
I will say No Man's Sky, upon release, was definitely the kind of game that was roasted for a reason, and that nobody should have bought.
I bought it at release too. I remember clearly.
I just think that there's so many different times where people try to do like big and fantastic things, and as little as I am aware of it, it's just, especially when you're talking about like huge procedurally generated games where there's just like a wealth of all this kind of stuff to explore. Well, then, yeah, if you're making a gigantic universe, not every piece of that universe is going to have something cool or interesting in it. So you have to find some way of like making, small bits. It's like
you're gonna make the moment-to-moment gameplay cool.
Yeah.
You're gonna make like doing boring shit fun.
Well, yeah, no, that's really it. And it's like if you can't find fun, just like going out and collecting resources or going out and exploring a new planet, then the rest of it is not going to feel as fun. Yeah. So I think that they've definitely taken a while to tweak and hone the gameplay experience over a long period of time. And so I definitely feel like it's a game worth playing now. I just don't know that anybody can replicate that on release.
I think also we've gotten to the point where we're just not pre-order people anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's like an expansion for a game that we already love, or like, I don't know. I'm not even planning to pre-order City Skylines 2, so.
Well, and I mean, like, the only reason to pre-order something is if you like the pre-order bonus, right?
Yeah.
It's hardly anyone. I'm lying when I say this. There are some people who still do buy physical copies, but I would say a large number of people just download digitally now, and really, there's no difference between pre-ordering 3 months before the game comes out or pre-ordering literally 12 hours before the game comes out just so that you can download the game and have it ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I definitely don't want to give anybody any money before there's been even a single review.
Sure.
Like, somebody outside the company needs to have played it and told me that it is good. And not just, the ones that are the super mainstream shit. I need, like, consensus. I need, like we pre-ordered Cyberpunk, didn't we?
Oh,
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Fallout 4 also. Like, we've followed
we don't have the good track record is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, we also just are kind of dumb when it comes to falling for hype. So I don't really trust my own hype sense anymore. Plus, I don't know, like, while I do like streaming and I like watching videos and I like being part of, like, the current zeitgeist, I'm not, like, I don't feel like a big enough content creator to, like, need to be on the cutting edge, Like, nobody is dying to know my opinions about the latest AAA game. Like,
I'm fine being a patient gamer and just waiting for things to
wait for the sale.
Wait for the sale, and then see if after a couple 100,000 reviews are out, if it's worth my time to invest into it.
Yeah.
Instead of pre-ordering right away, you are more than content with spending time raising a community of beavers and then waiting for the reviews to come out on the
Yep. I'm not even, like, fully, like, there's still levels to the beaver game that I don't get. I don't know how to do.
What was it, like, more in the technology trees you haven't got to?
No, I can't figure out how to do districts. You're supposed to be able to split your beavers into, like, 2 district zones that let them, like, send resources back and forth with each other, which is really helpful when you have, like, you need to mine metal, but the metal is all the way across the map, and, like, they can't carry food that far, except if it's a special delivery. But for some reason, every time I try to make a new district, they just don't deliver any food, and all the beavers in the new district die, so I don't know. I gotta figure that out.
I really appreciate that talking about beavers on this podcast is a regular thing.
Yeah. I crashed and burned on the Final Fantasy, or not Final Fantasy, the Resident Evil 7 boss so hard that I went back to I was like,
return to Beaver.
Reject chainsaw, return to Beaver.
Well, we are getting kind of close to wrapping things up here, but I wanted to tell people, like, what is coming up for the next episode or two. And next episode, which is going to be recorded in 2 weeks, and hopefully Brandon is not at the Ren Fair in 2 weeks so that he can be here for it. Next episode is going to be our prediction show for Final Fantasy Fan Fest. And if anyone remembers me from WoW podcasting days, and if they used to play WoW and listen to WoW podcasts, if you remember a little show called Azeroth Roundtable, they would do a prediction show for BlizzCon like every year. It's going to be something in that vein a little bit. So the plan is to have myself, Megan, Brandon, Ward, you are absolutely invited to this. And then we may have any number of hosts, of guest hosts along as well, people who've been on the show before. So I already invited Zim, but Zim won't be available. But Zim is still going to help contribute. Sarah should be back for the recording of that.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
there may be another voice or two as well from the past that may be on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have everyone who is going to be participating come up with 2 questions to be asked of the whole group, as far as like a prediction question of, do you think we will see this, or how many times will we see this, something like that, or some general prediction question, and it can be as serious or wacky as you want it to be. Megan, don't let me down. I want some wacky bullshit questions from you, prediction questions from you. I'm
gonna have to take all these questions and turn them into a bingo card, and just bring that bingo card along with us.
Oh boy!
As we go through FanFest, because I know there's gonna be a whole lot of wild stuff that we're gonna have to figure out.
I definitely want to have a lot of the questions be things that can be answered during like the main keynote reveal that everyone's going to see. But there should also, it is totally fine to have some questions that might end up giving Megan and Ward just a little bit of homework to do. And if they don't get the answer, then we just say there's no points awarded because we couldn't find the answer for it. But next episode should be pretty fun, making predictions. And then the episode after that, I might be the day after FanFest, or it might be a week after FanFest. Not entirely sure on that yet. It kind of depends on logistics and whether or not Megan and Ward can record from where they are, and we'll see how that all works. But 2 weeks from now, we'll have the prediction show, and then the episode after that will be kind of our post FanFest reaction, comments, thoughts, and prediction. And
I'm sure we'll have a lot of comments.
Oh yeah. After the way that 6.4 ended, and we still 6.5 is supposed to help set up the expansion, and that's a weird thing, right? It's like the expansion is going to be revealed before 6.5 comes out. So that feels a little weird and out of order, but I'm sure they're going to reveal only as little as they need to, so that 6.5 still makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking of also some very silly questions.
Oh yeah, because I don't know what we're gonna see about the new expansion other than possibly just the title.
Yeah.
But, honestly, who would have thought that, like, oh yeah, in the expansion Stormblood, we're gonna go to the Far East and we're gonna liberate Garabania.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
How's that Stormblood? Yeah. How's that a storm of blood? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Endwalker, you'll be walking the end. What does it even mean?
It's gonna be like Final Fantasy XIV, New Beginnings, and we're gonna be like, that tells us nothing.
So, the prediction for the name of the expansion is definitely going to be one I'm going to have to toss in there. That's got to be a gimme. It's like, if anyone can predict the name of the expansion, I feel like you need to get triple points.
True.
Oh man.
I also feel like most of the expansion names are like
one word.
Well, it's like one word, but it's usually like it's like something and a verb mashed together, like Endwalker, Shadowbringers, even like Stormblood is like a storm of blood. Like Storm is like active.
I'm gonna have to go and find like the original Japanese titles, because I know that they're completely different. Because like the Japanese titles for the expansion are often a lot more indicative of like where the story is actually going to go in. And then sometimes it's like a literal translation for the English title, and sometimes it's like completely different.
Well, that's Koji Fox at work right there.
I know.
Localization magic.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what is it going to be, like Newrunner?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with predictions. 2 predictions.
You know what? That may be the episode title for this show, The Road to Newrunner.
We walked to the end, and now we're running to the new.
Oh, God.
That's great. But yeah, very hyped for all the news and stuff that's coming up in just a few weeks. Can't believe we are not that far now away from that. And I'm sure that I've put a sufficient amount of panic into Megan and Ward's brains about, oh my God, I'm going to start thinking about preparing. And then when they start thinking about preparing, then they're going to hear Bon Bon and they're going to be like, wait, our son needs us.
Our biggest problem right now is like, what are we going to do while we're gone? Like, we have to make sure that Bon Bon can be in the main room with Butterscotch while we are gone, so that she can have access to like the water fountain and the feeder.
It's just logistics. Kitten logistics.
Kitten planning. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I want to give Butterscotch a little bit of time to get used to having a full scale goblin invasion before we leave.
Oh, that's going to be.
Yeah. So
we got 3 weeks.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
We gotta get her used to the zoomies, because Bon Bon is a zoomer. Oh my God. She runs back and forth in the bathroom so fast, I just like body checks the wall. Like, she does not give a single fuck. Or she'll dive at something and just like smash it with her face. It's like, girl, your brain. She's like, my what?
Exactly.
Until our next episode, Megan, where can people find you and your shenanigans?
You can find me on Twitter, on Twitch, and now also on TikTok at Catmom Megan. That's all one word, and MEAGAN. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. PST. And I post stream highlights on TikTok. I tweet random nonsense. And I also do artwork and draw stuff sometimes. So you'll see that on my Tumblr or on my Twitter, which is... My Tumblr's linked from my Twitter. My Tumblr's not actually Catmom Megan. That's like the only one, but that's because I've had that thing since I was like 19. So let's not talk about that. Never mind.
And you're taking art commissions, I saw.
Yes, I am, and especially if you want to help us out with FanFest money.
Please help feed them for FanFest.
please commission.
Yes.
Please commission it. We'll pay for kitten food.
I'll pay for kitten food, or figurines. 2 very important things.
Money well spent.
And Ward, I always joke that
you could always find me through my better half, and that.
Yep.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you ever want to see Ward's stream, check mine, because he shows up sometimes as a VTuber also that I made.
If you do want to find what Brandon is up to, you can go to his Twitter, which is @thebmat. You can also find a link to his all the other stuff that he is involved in by going there. You can also catch him on +5 to Hit, which is a D&D podcast where I'm the DM and I try to kill everybody. Well, not all the time, but +5 to Hit's been pretty fun. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter @PodcasterRo. That's Podcaster RHO. You can email the show at a podcastreborn at gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter @a podcastreborn. And that, I think, is going to do it. You can also find us on Bose Roll Productions as well. BoseRoll.gg. You can find a link to the shop to get Podcast Reborn merch and all that good stuff. The theme music this time around has been provided by Masayoshi Soken. Please go play Final Fantasy XVI if you have the means. Oh my God, this game. The music is freaking phenomenal. The music is almost worth the price itself. Almost. Of course, that music and any other music that's derivative of Final Fantasy music that you hear on this podcast belongs to Square Enix, and no copyright infringement is intended. For Megan, for Ward, for Brandon, and of course for Butterscotch and Bon Bon, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. And, Brandon's gone, but I do have to say, I actually just beat the final boss of the Praetorium for the 300th time the other day. And I suddenly realized that Gaius Van Belsar has to be a terrible lover. I mean, he sure got a lot of X's.
Oh. Oh.
Hi, everybody.
Oh.
He's got a lot of children too, but we're not going to talk about that.
Fair.